All right, we're gonna risk this over here. I don't like standing behind tables, so hopefully this works out okay with the sound. Okay, hi everybody. I'm Kristen Baerveldt, and I'm really excited and honored and nervous to be here. As he said, I just moved out to Colorado in December, so it's almost been a year. We moved for my husband's job, and we have a 4.5-year-old son. Sadly, they couldn't be here because it's kind of almost nap time. But I've spoken at a lot of these events, but it's been about 6 years since I've done this. So I'm a little rusty and I'm super nervous, but I'm really excited to be here with y'all today. And like he said, what y'all are doing today is so important. It's not just a walk, it's not just fun with your friends, it's not just being outside for 6 hours, but sometimes more if you're on the leadership committee. But you know, the money you're raising is funding cancer research that's keeping many people alive, including 2 of my friends who I want to dedicate my speech to today. My friend Tanya and my friend Melanie. I've relayed with both of them so many times over the years. They're back in San Diego, California, where I used to live. They're both moms, like me. Melanie has been dealing with brain cancer for a long time. She has been in the clear for a couple years, and sadly, it is back with a vengeance. So she is battling on like she always does, and just praying for her, and I'm hoping that I can see her at Christmas when we're out there visiting. Tanya is also a mom, and she has a very scary gene called lymphomania, and it basically makes her body produce different types of cancer at any time and any place. She's also been doing really well for years, and now she has a type of sarcoma, and they're still trying to figure out exactly what's going on with her. So I love both of them so much, and I know they're here in spirit with all of us. I've walked many survivor laps with them, so I'm here in honor of them today. But my story actually starts kind of back when I was a lot of y'all's age, and I used to live in Texas, so I say y'all a lot, so I hope you guys are okay with that. My cancer story really begins truly when I was in high school. I was not diagnosed then, but I'll explain why my cancer story started then. So I'm 45, so I'm kind of old to many of y'all, but when I was in high school, in the early 90s, being tan was super, super key to our image, our self-esteem, our confidence. And I played golf in high school. I grew up playing golf. That was my claim to fame. So I had a really sweet golfer's tan. I had really white feet, really tan legs and arms, and I was very proud of that. And in fact, I went to an all-girls Catholic high school back in St. Louis, where I'm from, and I was part of our first ever state championship golf team my senior year. So for the student athletes that are here, I know I can see some of y'all, you understand what a big deal that is, and for me, that was the biggest deal of my life at that point. But back to the tanning side. So I remember as a teenager, like many of us are or were, I was very insecure in how I looked and, you know, impressing people and whatnot. And so I started noticing that anytime I was tan, I started getting complimented. You look so pretty, you look so thin, you look so healthy. But nobody ever thought to tell me, hey, that tan that you're working so hard on, that could kill you one day. And even if they had, I don't know if I would have listened. Because when I was 15 years old, I was preparing for my first high school dance as a sophomore. And I had a really pretty purple, ironically, purple sequin dress that I was gonna wear. I love to see now that those are back in style, but we did it first, back in the 90s. But I wanted to look tan for my dance. And my mom, ironically, and you'll see why in a minute why this is ironic, my mom took me to my first tanning bed appointment when I was 15 because I couldn't drive. And I remember just loving it. I loved it. So in the winter when it was cold and gray, I was at the tanning beds. And once I started driving, I would take myself. In the summer, I was out at the pool with my friends. We were laying out in the yard, on the deck, wherever we could get that suntan. And that continued for 15 years. Through college, post-college, anytime there was a special function, a dance, an event, anytime I was going to be photographed or anything, I had to get that healthy glow, which is what people used to call it. It's not a healthy glow. And like I said, what I didn't know is that tan could kill me. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's actually true. There's multiple types of skin cancer out there, but melanoma is the deadliest form of skin cancer. Does anybody here know anyone that's ever had melanoma? Okay, so it's becoming more common and people are talking about it more. But back then in 2008, when I was diagnosed, I didn't even know what the heck it was. I knew it was cancer, but I didn't understand the severity of it. And one person dies from melanoma every hour in the United States. So in the 6 hours that we're walking this track, that's 6 more loved ones that are gone because of this disease. So it is serious, it is dangerous, and I'm not here to preach or to scare you, but I also want to make sure I show you the facts around it because it's a cancer that's not talked about enough. So when I was diagnosed, I, at that point, was living, I had moved from the Midwest, I was in California. I lived 16 blocks from the beach. I had a job, I was taking care of myself, I was 29, and my parents came to visit me for the weekend. It was like Father's Day, and my mom noticed a black mole on my left calf, and it was right here, which I can't really show you, but she from across the room, how many moms are here? I know there's a few of us, right? Okay, awesome, love y'all. My mom noticed the mole on my calf, and she said, Kristen, you've got to get that checked. And she is not the kind of mom that worries a lot, but she would not get off of me that whole weekend, like, you've got to get that checked, I don't like that, I don't like that, and I just rolled my eyes, and I'm like, Mom, whatever, it's fine. And I remember when I took my parents to the airport and I said goodbye to them, my mom hugged me and she like grabbed my back and she said, make that doctor's appointment. And I rolled my eyes again and I finally eventually made the appointment. Because, you know, I actually still kind of listen to my parents even though I'm 45. But at the time I was 29, made the appointment. But I had to, of course, get through my 30th birthday and I had a lot of celebrating to do. I wasn't really worried about it. So I finally went and got it checked. And my doctor was like me. He's like, I don't think it's anything to worry about, but if it'll make your mom feel better, we can cut it off. So we both laughed together and he shaved it off, put a Band-Aid on me, and I went out to eat with friends. Like, I was not worried at all. They always tell you when you get tests done, no news is good news. If you don't hear from us, you're fine. So almost 2 weeks went by, so I was like, I'm good. And my mom was like, no, you need to call them and get an answer. So I called, and I'll never forget the nurse. She was like, oh, yeah, we're gonna need you to come in tomorrow. You have cancer. What? So those 3 words will haunt me the rest of my life. It's been 15 years and that will never change. And as I mentioned earlier, I didn't really know what melanoma was other than it was cancer. And I started researching it a little bit and realizing, like, holy crap, this is real. Like, this is serious. At that point, I didn't know my status. I didn't know what was going to happen. In hindsight, God bless my mom, she saved my life. She knew the warning signs of skin cancer, and she knew that mole, even though I have a lot of them, which I know you guys can't see because I'm covered up, but I'm covered in freckles. But they're all brown, like some shade of brown. This one was black. It just didn't look right. It didn't set right with her. So we caught it very early. In fact, we caught it so early they couldn't even stage it. So a lot of people ask me, like, what stage were you? But stage 0. The best stage you can be if you're gonna get cancer, because we caught it so early that the surgery I had to remove all the surrounding tissue was completely clear of cancer cells. So the bad news is I was diagnosed with cancer. The good news is we caught it so early and have since been so diligent with my skin checks, going to the dermatologist multiple times a year. I did have to go to an oncologist for 5 years, which is, as you guys, most of you know, is a cancer doctor. That's who did my surgery. I was very often the youngest and healthiest looking person in the waiting room. People would often look at me like, why is she here? She doesn't belong here. She doesn't look like she has cancer. But that is the reality of cancer, this disease, is it follows you. Even if you look normal or you look fine, or it's been 15 years, it is something that you never get over. And there is no cure for melanoma. The best case scenario is that you catch it early and you remove the cancer cells. But if one tiny cell decided it wanted to leave that area and go somewhere else in my body, it could still pop up now, 15 years later, or I could have a reoccurrence in another area of my skin. And I didn't mention exactly how or why melanoma is deadly, because most people think it's your skin. Like, what's the big deal? You cut it off and it's fine, right? No. So most skin cancers are that way. They can be very scarring, very disfiguring. A lot of times the non-melanoma types can appear on our face and our neck. which nobody wants to have a giant piece of skin cut out of their face or have a giant scar, right? But aside from the vanity part of it, melanoma, when it spreads and it divides, it spreads internally and downward. So it goes through all the layers of skin, and the next thing it hits is your lymphatic system. So if it gets in your lymph nodes, it can go to any organ in your body. And that's super creepy and scary. And that's how I lost my friend Eric, who passed away in 2020 from melanoma, just shy of 38 years old. His spread to his liver, eventually his brain, multiple organs. It was awful. But that's what it does, and it's evil and it's scary. So if I am scaring you, I hope at the very least I'm scaring you into wearing sunscreen, covering up your skin, going and getting a skin check. You know, a lot of you, you're younger. I was young once too. I didn't think anything like this could ever happen to me, but sadly cancer, including skin cancer, is happening younger and younger in people. So I just want you to take away that your skin is your largest organ in your body. It doesn't forget. So any skin damage that you're getting even now could show up 10 years from now in the form of skin cancer. So parents, set a good example for your kids. Wear sunscreen, show them how to protect their skin. Kids, students, don't be self-conscious about it. Wear your sunscreen, put it on, cover your skin up, help your friends do it. If anybody here has any questions about skin cancer or my story, you want to see videos of it, I'm happy to share it with you, with your groups, with your teams. I love to come out and talk to people, and I truly believe, I'm going to get a little spiritual for a second, I truly believe that God put this roadblock in my path to not to kill me, thankfully, but to give me an opportunity to share my story and to help other people and to hopefully prevent this from happening to them, because I wouldn't want anybody to go through what my friend Eric went through, or other friends that I know that have passed from melanoma. And also I want to say that it can run in your family. And the older generation, and I don't mean me, I mean like grandparents and up, oftentimes didn't talk about skin cancer or melanoma. But I encourage you to ask your family members, hey, has anybody in our family ever had this? It can be hereditary, it can run in your family. It didn't run in my family until I was diagnosed. In the last 15 years, my mom has had 3 early stage melanomas caught early, thankfully. My sisters had 3 pre-cancerous moles removed that were very close to being melanoma. And my dad has had multiple non-melanoma skin cancers, but because of my diagnosis and the scare we had with me, they started going to the dermatologist regularly and getting checked, and they have all, knock on wood, been okay, but that is because of early detection. So just like breast cancer and other cancers that have done such a good job of spreading awareness and making sure you know the warning signs and how to check yourself and how to get checked, I'm here to do that for skin cancer. So make that appointment. Like I said, if you have any questions, I'll be hanging out for a little while after this. I love to talk to people about this stuff. I feel like it's my job and my duty as a melanoma survivor to make sure that other people don't have to go through this. So I thank y'all so much for having me today, and good luck with your event. Thanks for what you're doing.